Maybe we should do an episode.
I used to want to be a music
where
producer.
I interview you.
Yeah.
And you can be kind of an expert on podcasts.
I've done a couple solo episodes.
Yeah.
Just
that is like the height of narcissism.
Sitting in my fucking apartment
to do a podcast on kind of an expert. Like, I think I can just do that. I can just do this on my own. This topic.
There's a couple topics that I researched.
What's the topic?
So one of them was like the idea that we are living in the new golden age, or gilded age, not golden age.
Okay.
So like essentially how our economy's in the exact same point it was at the end of the 1800s, and how we need to essentially duplicate what they did in the beginning of the 1900s, except a little different, so we don't have the Great Depression.
So it was like a really
happy-go-lucky
episode.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research on that one.
I think it's a good idea for like a twist on the kind of expert, where instead of bringing in people who kind of can talk about a subject, it's you just on Wikipedia trying to parse through an actual topic. Because ultimately that is, let's be honest, a lot of podcasts. We did some research, and then you can hear them typing.
You just
into
reading
Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's so. It's just where I get my content now.
Yeah.
Just where I get my content. Yeah.
I mean, it's better than the new podcasts that are starting up on, where they just read Reddit boards.
You know what it is, man.
And they're just like
podcasts aren't what they used to be. You know.
Well, it used to be garbage too.
I do love that too. The revisionism. I love. It's always like the guys. It's a lot like the comedians who, like, rip open mic comedians and like use it as a pejorative, but they're not enough levels above an open mic comic to just be throwing this around. It's the same way with like, you always notice that a lot of people who like rip on the like profusion of podcasts are people that started one just like a little bit sooner, when it was still like, trust me, plenty to go around. You know, you weren't, it's like, oh, everyone's got to have a podcast now.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, you don't have to. Here's how I look at podcasts. It is a horrible way to gain audience, but it is a great way to keep audience. Because if you can get someone to listen to 82 episodes, 82 hours.
I was like, I'm not here for
No. 60-minute podcast, but 82 episodes, so they're listening to you for 82 hours. Like, they're the ones that are gonna come see your live show.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Although that's where, see, I never get deep into podcasts. I'm not like a regular listener, and part of it is the number. There's something very disturbing of clicking, like, I don't even know, what would the episode of Chapo be? Do they number them? Where you realize,
I mean, like Joe Rogan's at 1,500.
People number their podcasts.
Oh, I do.
That, to me, I'm not sure I would go that route, because it's like a reminder to the listener who's followed all along the exact amount of hours that they have put in to listening to like chuntering on about the Democratic establishment, which is perfect. It's a great podcast, but it's like, holy shit, this is now like taken years, like the years of my life here, you know?
So 2 thoughts on that. One, that is part of the reason that I like having every episode be different on this podcast. So they can't say I listened to 82 hours of this kid talk about one other thing. I think the other part of that, though, is that most people are not as neurotic as you are.
I think it's a huge unquestionable part of it.
I don't think they think about it like that.
That neuroses has such a negative impact on my life, because in the rare moments when I like turn on a Chapo, I laugh. I'm in.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's great.
But then I'm like, oh, I can't do this too often, because then I'll like see a number of how many. Like, that is really. Yeah, I should probably.
You're not wrong that it is like an addiction, though. Podcasts are imaginary friends for adults.
Yeah.
And it's like, once you like. Listeners of this, don't think about that too hard. But like,
I guess
it is kind of like,
just come on and be like, isn't it crazy how much time we spend listening to podcasts?
So there's like, I listen to a couple sports podcasts while I'm working, and I just have it on. And they went 2 weeks without doing one. They took a vacation, which is well in their right. When I tell you,
you're like
sat
switching
down
like John Daly on the golf
Monday,
course.
And it's just like, I feel like I should be listening to Bill Simmons right now, and it's just like. I feel like there's something missing. What am I listening to? I tried music. I was like, this isn't the same.
I think that as the ubiquity of like onlineness has just taken over my entire life, that I've had to eliminate like audio content. Like, I spend so much time scrolling. Like, we're all scrolling. You're just scrolling. You get on your phone. There's
The
a gap.
unlimited
There's a gap in conversation.
wheel.
You scroll, right? And so the idea of then like in the rare moments when I'm not scrolling, just like listening, I'm like, Jesus, this is like, I feel so fucking trapped right now. And so I'm either.
You even control the play
Well,
pause
but
button.
that's the best part. Is like podcasts are obviously way more enjoyable than scrolling Twitter, but I'm so addicted to the one that I've had to forsake the other one.
Wow.
And just been like, I need to just stare in silence, waiting until the next time I like scroll. And so the idea of like I listen to I listen to Blowback, but that's less of like a chatting, you know. It's like a researched fucking history of events
Information.
that fascinate me. So
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing. But
All of that to say,
I am looking.
you
at
are starting
I'm-
your podcast.
I want to say. I want to. It's, you know what it is. It's like it's that everybody says don't do a podcast, right? So many people are like, oh, you shouldn't do a podcast. Everyone's doing a podcast, blah blah blah. And then someone does another podcast, and it works, and they get listeners. They
Yep.
start getting booked more, and you're sitting there like, why did I, for the last 3 years, listen to everyone who said don't do a podcast? Like, 'cause what's the worst case scenario? It fails?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
that's the worst case scenario.
99% of podcasts.
And I think that's like, you know, new me in the pandemic.
Okay.
Post-pandemic world is like, should I just be more willing to fail? And so, with that in mind, yeah, I've been looking at,
Yes.
I've just been thinking about starting a podcast.
So what I'm interested in is the topic of that podcast, because that to me
Right.
is really,
Right.
I think there's a lot of substance in your idea. So explain your idea,
The idea is
and
to
this
have
will kind of be a preview of
Right.
your podcast. And overall, so for the listeners, if you enjoy Michael by the end of this, we'll come back to this.
Come
by the
listen to me
end.
1,400
Yes,
times
you can-
over
you
the
can-
next 12 years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Prepare for him to be your imaginary best friend.
Sure. Well, I think so. I like the idea of doing something like a little more condensed. I will probably try to put out seasons instead of every single week doing it.
Yeah.
And I
Honestly, that's the smart way to do
and
it.
and I started thinking about some of my old jobs, particularly one I worked in. I guess you'd call it event management. I set up safety training events for construction workers
Okay.
all over the country for 5 years, and I started thinking about how it was just fundamentally like a real life commercial. It was a real life advertisement for this company I worked for.
Interesting.
So it was like ostensibly safety training, but suspiciously OSHA was nowhere to be seen, right? And the safety trainers were just local sales reps of all your Makitas, your DeWalt,
Of course.
you know, your Guardian, you know, your harness companies.
Yeah.
And what would start ostensibly as a safety training program would just quickly devolve into like having people try harnesses on and then being like, you should probably buy a new harness, and boy, do we have a deal. You know? And but like
Oh
not
my
to say they
God.
got nothing out of it, like I don't want to be too harsh, but it was the process because I set up everything. I would drive the van with all the equipment. I would put up everything, all of the advertising materials, the literature, the sales, the
Yeah.
list of the prices, all that. And then it was my job to like
This training brought to you by
right.
fucking
And of
DeWalt.
course, like as is the case with so many in advertising, the thing I was advertising, I had absolutely no experience with.
No.
I mean, I couldn't tell you what drill to use for a specific wall. What the fuck? And so like I'm just there having to pretend that I'm like part of it. I've got all I got the uniform on and all
Sure.
this shit. I mean, I don't know how to do any of it. And so I, you know,
You're an actor.
luckily I'm like, well, we've actually got we got Johnny from Bosch over here to answer all those questions.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
I'm just actually here to hand out ham and turkey sandwiches, and no, we don't have vegetarian. Sorry, you know, like that's basically
What construction worker is vegetarian?
more than you think.
Wow.
Vegetarianism is spreading into the very interstices of this country.
And this is why we're failing as a nation state.
Right. Yeah. And so although I think kind of an expert would be stretching it, I've long been sort of obsessed with the idea of advertising. And so what I want to do is start sort of looking at probably in the format of like specific types of ads and going through sort of the history of how those various products were advertised throughout and what they look like now and what they may look like in the future.
Yeah. So let's get into that. What is your favorite type of advertising? Sarcastically,
Well,
or like you could go two ways.
So-
you could go legitimately
Sure.
this is great,
Sure.
or legitimately this is awful
right.
and I love it.
So after coming out of the gates with type, I would say that there will also be some companies advertise so much that they will probably get like specific episodes unto themselves.
Okay.
And so my favorite ad right now that I think is like so sort of telling of our current condition, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a TV spot, and it opens up on a sort of single family suburban garage deep into the night. Crickets chirping, right? And as we move down the driveway, we see what one has to guess is a mother. It's early morning, 2-3 in the morning. And she has this perfectly organized workspace. So she's converted her garage into a workspace in which she ships stuff out on Amazon. Okay? Now, the beauty of the ad, of course, is that when you're seeing her do this, right, it is set up. Obviously, Amazon would never make an ad to make itself look horrible, right?
Right.
But this, in my eye, I'm like, wow, they're telling us everything in this ad, right? Because at first, the way they want you to see the ad is, look at this independent entrepreneur
Yes.
who has pulled herself up by her own bootstraps.
In the midst of a pandemic, she lost everything.
Right. It's a side hustle, but it is perfectly manicured. All the boxes are in perfect order.
Yeah.
All of the equipment, the boxes, the packing tape, everything there, the ladder, everything, Amazon product. Okay. So, which is amazing. It's like you work for us.
Yeah.
But first, you buy all of the stuff from us to set up an office, an Amazon satellite office, in which we obviously pay you nothing.
Right.
You get nothing from us.
Yeah.
In fact, you actually pay us to do this, right? So that's like the first thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is like then you have to consider like all of the tragedy of this life, right? Which is that, well, okay.
No, keep going.
If you watch the ad, it sets up as a single family home. So there's a family in there. She's not with her family. To say nothing of the fact that she's not asleep. Okay?
No.
She's awake in the middle of the night. Some fucking asshole had clicked like one
Buy
day
candle.
shipping,
Yeah.
overnight shipping for these 18 Yankee candles at a profit of like $8.95.
She's just reselling off
Well,
Alibaba.
and like the real profit comes from the shipping, but it also necessitates that she has to like climb out of bed, right? Still, like finds time to dress up pretty nice. She's not just stumbling down. Right? So you don't get to see the real situation where she's just fucking haggard, so tired. She's been yelling at her husband who thinks it's not going to make enough money. She's promising that the $5,000 that they put into all of this equipment is eventually going to pay off.
It's gotta start with her half asleep, and then her phone goes ding, and she
right,
goes, fucking Christ.
And so and then you start to see like the bigger point of the ad, which is that they think that they're suggesting like this person has taken control of their life in a way that was not possible without companies like Amazon. When in fact, like I don't think I've ever seen anyone more out of control of their life. Right? Like this is right. Like the idea that this was a choice, right? That's the illusion. Right? This was not a choice. Nobody in their right mind would choose to do such a thing.
Yeah.
And then you see like the car is now parked outside on the driveway.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get all types of winter damage.
Yeah.
She's having to do this. After she's put in like a solid $349 in like to a space heater from Amazon when winter comes, and that's sort of what I find so amazing about that group, whether it's Amazon or Facebook is another good example, or Google, is that so many of their ads reveal the real heinousness of what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's able to be done in a way that even the advertisers like, this is going to make us look great. And the thing that sort of shocks me is that like there have to be people who look at that Amazon ad that I just described and like don't have a complete fucking meltdown that like the whole relationship between labor and capital has been fucking destroyed, and we are at like this stage of self-exploitation from which we will never recover until like the world just explodes. Right?
Yeah, right.
And so
here's what Amazon is going for, if I may play
sure, please,
devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I think this actually lends to your point in that the person who sees that and goes, I want that, is the person who is trapped in such a horrible corporate life that they're like,
Right.
at least nobody's telling her what to do.
Mhm.
When really, like, we know Amazon's telling her what to
Yeah,
do.
oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
they're putting her in like, hey, ship this candle or starve situations. But
Or don't, and
That
just,
is-
but you'll hurt your seller rating.
yeah,
It's up to you.
I mean, it's the
But once your
control.
seller rating goes down,
They are advertising towards the people who feel like they have no control
Sure.
over their life, and I think that's pretty predominant in the pandemic. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad ad, but I also agree
It
that
can't
you are
be-
100% right
can't
as
be a
a
bad ad.
societal,
this is what
like
gets
as a
me.
societal
Right.
narrative.
Yeah.
You're
This is-
100%
This
on
is the
the
part
nose.
that fascinates me, and that this is the part I would want to get into more on like a podcast about one specific. Like, I think you could do one about this fucking ad, where like I want to bring someone on and talk to me about how it is a good ad, because I'm sure it is. I mean, they have the best advertisers in the world. They have the best everything in
Yes.
the world. The best lawyers, best space program now. I mean, like, okay, so I get it. But I actually think it's sort of twofold. I think that you're right, that those are some of the people. But I think that there's something darker about another group that I think they're appealing to, where that there are a lot of people that genuinely want to do that.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind. Right? That like and so the for me the tragedy then is that like where they're getting those people is that people have reached a point where they do want to try that. They do want to try something like that. Whether it's for reasons like you're talking about, or just like, I'm gonna make something of myself and this is the avenue. And so like what you really want is like an ad of this person like 14 months into this attempt.
Yes.
Right? All the boxes are shattered. She's trying to close it, but now
Yeah.
it's like too loose. And so every time she's trying to go back upstairs, she can't get the thing. Everything is disorganized. She can't find the thing.
Her kids are helping with everything.
She's yelling at the crickets
She's
now.
in child
At first they were
labor.
kind of meditative. You know?
I mean that. Yes, that would be an amazing. I think, but that's the point of comedy, right? Is to like do that for Amazon. Just like, hey,
Sure.
here's this ad now.
Yeah.
Here's what it is in 14 months, and like show people. And I think people would relate to that
Right.
as well.
But during the like after ad, it just still shows like Amazon and Bezos' wealth ticker.
Mhm.
Just flying apace, like has not slowed down at all.
Just cruising.
Just cruising. Just cruising. Right? It's like the space heater's not working. She has to. The ad is in 14 months
Yeah.
when she's returning the space heater from her apartment because like it blew up in the socket, and
Right.
they just replace it right away because they just don't give a shit.
She can't
you know?
afford electricity. She's using the Amazon generator she bought, and it
Yeah.
explodes the
Exactly.
space heater.
Exactly. She's been cut off. She's been cut off from Con Edison.
Yeah.
So now she has to go to Amazon. She's on a personal
You
hotspot.
just see her husband get in the car with the kids and drive away.
A restraining order slid through the garage door.
Yeah. She gets served mid candle. Is that I mean, and that's I can't really blame Amazon though, because like,
Why?
well, okay, I can blame them for
the ad
ushering
strikes
in
me
the
as
end of the world.
fundamentally evil.
I can blame them for ushering in the end of the world, but they are capitalizing on a feeling that's already been happening, and I think like that's an overall discussion with ads, right? Like, do they cause feelings or do they capitalize on feelings?
I think they do both, and I think that it's the ability to not worrying about particularly distinguishing between those two factors that makes it so
Sure.
heinous. So like, consider this ad one more time, okay? Let us say it must be a good ad. That there are people who are like, I like them a little better now. I heard this story where the workers have to piss in bottles, but look at her, you know? Pretty
She's
good.
not in the warehouse.
Pretty good.
She's in her own garage.
Why don't those warehouse guys just do this part? I
That's
don't
true.
get it, right? But what I'm saying is in that room, okay, in that room where they're pitching and they're developing the ad, okay, I would bet my life that one person in that entire room would be like, you know, it could read like pretty dystopian. Because they're all sharp.
Yeah.
A lot of these people are sharp. It's not like they're not all complete morons. I mean, sure, a bunch of them are, but a bunch of morons in everything.
Yeah.
There's someone in that room being like, I don't know, where is she up at? Is it like, what are we saying? Is it 3 o'clock in the morning? She's doing this? And the heinous part is everybody else either is like, nah, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, they're so fucking ignorant to that reality, or they're not ignorant to it, which is even worse because they're like, oh yeah, but fuck those few people because this is going to get through to every moron who thinks that they're going to make like $85,000 in 18 hours of shipping Amazon products, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever. What do people sell on Amazon when it's not Amazon?
So a lot of what they do, and I've learned this from TikTok, so I don't really know, I don't have a good sense of how many people actually do this,
Right.
but everything is cheaper on Alibaba than it is on Amazon and eBay. And so what I've heard about people doing is just ordering just warehouses worth of stuff off Alibaba from China and then reselling on Amazon, which they
just give me the ad. Give me the ad where she does that whole process.
Yeah.
Gets on a watch list with like the Chinese government. Like now all of her emails are being inspected. Right. Her TikTok's getting taken down every 18 hours.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
But like that's, I mean, to me those are obviously those companies have this sort of overwhelming power over society, and so their ads are sort of particularly interesting to me. But like the tech ads, sort of writ large, are also because I'm obvious. I wouldn't say I'm a Luddite, but like I'm obvious. I don't love it. You know, I don't love it. I can feel it destroying my brain first of all, and then it's just like, what is any of this? What is this? None of this is for anything. Right. It's just replaced nothing and replaced it with another type of nothing.
Yes.
You know? But the tech ads, one of the things that I have always been fascinated by, it's not just tech now. It's almost every ad, and I encourage anybody who's listening to this to go watch an ad with this perspective. There's so many ads that are either technology or some products, most of whom now have some technology in them.
Sure.
Like your refrigerator will tell you if you need yogurt.
Right.
So God forbid you have to be like, I need yogurt. Like, right. All of those ads basically are built around one premise, which is, don't worry, you can still live a normal life with all this stuff around you. It barely even is about how much easier everything is. It's more to the point where it's like, yeah, the internet needs to be everywhere, and yeah, everything needs to be recorded, and yeah, everything you say or do is in this device, but you can still have an authentic night out in Williamsburg, right? So you see like an Apple ad where it'll be like a bunch of 20-somethings and they start on a rooftop and a party at Williamsburg, right? And it's them getting through the club, right? They're getting in and they're showing the QR code and they get in and they're all happy they got in, and now they're up at the exclusive club, right? And they're QRing the menu and they're getting the fancy cocktail, right? And then it's like going back to someone's place for a party and someone has like an authentic vinyl and they have a record player and it's old, but then someone puts their phone in the air and it says what song it is and now it's on a playlist for next time or whatever.
Right.
And then the next morning everyone's, hungover but not in a bad way. Everyone's kind of peaceful, sleeping. Someone's making eggs, right? And then someone has to go to work, so like they get a car. And it's like all of these things, everything that's described in so many of these ads happened exactly that way before the technology.
Right.
Someone had a record player, you heard a song, you went, what's that song?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You go to
The
a
idea
club,
they couldn't
they
ask
go,
the person
do
who
you
put
have
it
your
on.
ticket? You give them your ticket.
Yeah.
You go upstairs, you say, what drinks do you make? You buy a drink. Every step along the way, it all happened. And essentially what these companies are really saying is, yeah, we're in your shit now, for real. We're in your shit in a way that no one's ever been in your shit before, but don't worry, you can still go, you can still get the drink, you can still come home, you can still flirt with someone, you can still fuck somebody, you can still listen to a cool song, you can still get a car ride home, you can still go to work in the morning. And like, when I started looking at tech ads that way, it like really changed it for me. Because it doesn't really, so much of it doesn't really speed up things that much.
No.
Right? It makes like, there's like a false ease, and the exchange of that is like constant, unrelenting surveillance of every thought you have.
Yeah. But so here's, to play the other side of that. here's what that ad hypothetically. I don't know if that was a real ad or not, but it seems like
that's every ad.
That's every ad.
That's every ad.
It's playing into the influencer culture because they're not trying to show you everything that the phone could do. They're trying to say, hey, you could be this person. That's why everyone's attractive, everyone's young, everyone looks like they're doing a Grimes cosplay. They're like colorful hair, like they're having fun. They're saying like, if you want to be this person, because we know you want to be that person, you have to have this.
So essentially, it's like you too can be an advertiser.
Yeah. Well, that's all that influencing is.
Yes, of course.
Like being an influencer is just essentially being a spokesperson. They have democratized being a spokesperson. It's not just like fucking celebrity, like A-list movie actors that are doing. Like I saw.
But that's what's funny to me is that's always considered a very, very positive thing. Like no more gatekeeping.
Yes.
Now any fucking idiot can just turn their life into complete and utter commodification at all times. What a breakthrough! Oh my god! What a
Isn't their life better?
I used to have to go and audition. I used to have to put everything into getting on the Subway ad. Now I can just eat a Subway sandwich in the comfort of my own living room and turn into an ad.
That is better.
Why? Why is
it's
that
not
better?
necessary. I mean, look,
it's worse, man.
I can get into the overall, because overall, I think advertising is dying. I think people are moving towards subscription.
Advertising isn't dying. Advertising has moved into our lives.
Well, sure, but it's getting smaller. Like for instance, growing up, if I'm watching a football game, I have to watch those ads. I can't look at my phone. I'm not getting up to go to the computer room to look at the computer. Like I am sitting there watching those ads. Now ads have moved from football is the only place I see ads because on Instagram I scroll right by. I don't even see it. And you could argue that it's affecting me subconsciously, but I'm not sitting there for 3 minutes watching an Instagram ad to get to the next post.
Something
TikTok's even shorter.
I picture you like watching like the Lions Packers, and you're like, oh, thank God, I don't have to watch this Michelob Ultra ad. And then you go on your phone, and it's just like a Michelob Ultra Instagram ad.
I thought you were going to make a joke about the Lions and be like, oh, thank God, I can look at Michelob Ultra instead of this shit show.
Thank God, I can scroll right past this Michelob Ultra ad.
Exactly. But that is where we've got to. But here's the, would you pay $5 a month?
Football.
Would you pay $5 a month to not see any ads on Twitter?
100%.
I think a lot of people are starting to feel that
way. And I also think that it would be a very appropriate way to go where if you buy a product, you don't have to see any ads from anything in that field ever again.
I have had that thought. I was like, why isn't there a fucking company where I click, I bought this, and it tells everyone who sells that, I don't need more shoes. I just bought shoes.
I'll give you a great example. I don't have dental insurance. Teeth were pretty fucked up. They were pretty stained. Pretty stained. No, it's weird. People always like, no, your teeth aren't that bad. Teeth is just a weird thing that people have to pretend they can't see they're bad. But
that's true.
My teeth were pretty bad, pretty stained, and it was like obviously hundreds of dollars for cleanings, blah blah blah. So, obviously, I would talk about this a fair bit, and my phone picked up on this, and so I was getting a lot of people, like deranged looking people with these like glow in the dark fucking mouth guards that they're like sit there and they're like and then it's like in
10 minutes,
look at this, right? So in fairness, this is like how crazy I am about thinking, and I'm kind of like ahead of it, where I'm like, well, those seem really fake. But then one came up and it was like, I'm telling you, hundreds of these. As soon as you click through on one, your life's over. You ever click through on like a meal prep?
Yeah, meal prep.
A Blue Apron.
Shoes.
You just click. You just fall for
I did it with the desk.
Dude,
you
fall for like 6 free meals. You're hungry. You're running out of money. Like, free food. I need food. I know I need food. So you click on it, and then as soon as you click on it, you get the news that the 6 free meals are actually spread over a $250 investment. And you're like, I don't have $250. That's why I needed free chicken, right?
True.
So you go back, and now you have to see every meal prep company ever invented on your phone every day that not only A, reminds you that you're running out of money and are hungry, but B, you can't even afford any of the meal prep places, right? So
It's just a reminder how hungry you are.
I'm trying to be discerning. I'm trying to be discerning about the dental shit, and I find this thing called, Only Smile or whatever the fuck, with like 2 dots over the O for no.
Yeah.
Some advertiser thought that might make it seem Scandinavian. It had like a Scandinavian touch to it, where it's like, oh yeah, these people must know. They've got the Nordic model. They must be able to fix my teeth.
You know who's got white teeth? White people.
Yeah, exactly. And so I fucking, it's like this tool that just basically, it's like, it seemed a little more honest because like it was like an actual impediment, and it like, and like, do this for 2 weeks, blah blah blah. Like their claims were a little less extraordinary, and I fucking clicked on it.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, they got me. It was like, it took a long time, but they got me. Took weeks, months, hundreds of these things. But here I am, putting my credit card in, right? And like kind of like in a trance. You're kind of in a trance when you follow an ad and you're doing it. You're like, everything, get the credit card and you press it. There's like the little endorphin rush. Okay, maybe this one functions. So it comes to me. It definitely, most likely, doesn't do anything.
Sure.
But also 100% is a tool that needs to be handled by a professional. It felt so dangerous. It was straight up fucking metal. Okay? And I put it on one of my teeth here and freaked the fuck out. I was like, this thing is gonna break all of my teeth. And so I never used it again.
No.
Okay? I dropped like, whatever, $59 on this thing probably. And what I want is I want a thing on an app like Instagram to just be like, I'm not doing any of those products ever again.
Yeah.
But they still, because my profile is still in there, I'm a big I need dental aid. And it's still there, But that's like the promoted ads are so evil because they, for me at least, maybe this doesn't happen to everybody, but they're anxiety inducing. So like I'm a hypochondriac, and so when I see ads for the Mayo Clinic and it says promoted, it's like, sure, I get up on stage, I talk a lot about hypochondria, my phone is on the whole time, hopefully that's why. But in my head, I'm like, these bitches might have my medical records. Like, who knows at this point?
Who knows?
And maybe they're just like, go get
anonymized,
checked for cancer.
And they're,
Why? Do you get cancer ads?
No.
See that? You should have absolutely lied and said yes.
Well, I'm, like, you're what, 60 years old?
I am 60 years
right.
old.
So it's
Look
making
great
sense.
for 60.
You do look good. It's the teeth.
But,
it's the teeth
like,
whitening.
those ads where it's like, you're sick, that's fucked, man.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you get?
I get a lot of, like, I get interested in like one thing where I'm like, all right, I need a new pair of shoes.
Okay.
And then I'll Google Nike.
Right.
What's going on here? What's the funniest thing? The shoes that I actually have right now, I looked for shoes. I then went to the store, saw the pair of shoes that I wanted in the store, but I wasn't sure because I hate shopping. It's the most anxiety-inducing thing. Clothes shopping specifically. I go home. The shoes I picked up in the store that I was almost about to buy, third fucking post on my Instagram. That exact same color, same style, same price as in the store, and I was like, this is dystopian as shit.
That's funny. That happened to me too. That happened to me too with condoms. Because I picked up a pair of Magnums as a joke, put them back, and now I get advertisements for them all the time.
That's amazing.
Like, you guys don't know me that well. You definitely don't know me that well.
So we've been talking about good ads, or what, dystopian,
have we?
Horrible, but they're working. Everything that we just talked about, they're working.
I don't even know if these things have to work.
I want to talk about ads that totally missed the mark, and I want to start with the Facebook ad that came out directly after the 2016 election. I don't know if you remember this, but it was immediate. It was immediate.
I'm sorry. We're sorry.
No. That was amazing, but it was like, this is a really tough time. We all need to come together, and this is why we have Facebook groups.
Yes.
And I'm like, hold on, guys. Facebook groups is how we got where we are. The idea that these people talked in circles with each other until there was a fucking rebellion is exactly what just happened.
It should've been.
So when you bring up the people in the Amazon boardroom, I'm sitting here going, I don't know if anyone actually said, hey guys, do we realize how fucked this is?
Right.
Because if Facebook can be that obstinate from the top,
Yes, that's right.
I just don't see like maybe there's like some sales development representative who everyone just like kicks in the nuts on their way by.
Or a tech
But,
developer is like,
Yeah,
no,
right.
trust me, he's all in on groups. He's like,
Yeah.
we just have to keep being in them.
Right.
Eventually, we'll all start thinking the right things.
Exactly. Well, if everyone's in the right groups, then we'll get.
Yes.
And I just like I was looking at that, and I was going, "What? Like, do they not see what's going on? Are they in their own group
Yeah.
talking about how
exactly,
good their
exactly.
groups are?"
Well, I
And
think,
it's
I
just
think
like-
I think that like there are a lot of blind spots with these huge places.
Oh, I think you're right.
Because also, what's weird about them is that while obviously these tools, like the Facebook, for example, all the tools in Facebook, are obviously detrimental in a million fucking ways, that their metrics are all great,
Yeah.
right? Engagement, usage, clicks. So they are like,
Yeah.
let's go with groups.
Yeah.
Groups are on fire.
Well, this is
And then
exactly
it's
why
like-
monopolies are
right,
bad.
and then it's like, well, so how do we get people on groups? Because someone mentions, because you know what happened with the groups, right? Like,
Right.
You do understand. And then they're like, well, we just say we got to do better on the groups, and that's the ad, right? But like that's the thing. Like, I don't think that those companies with Facebook and Google, their ads just on TV just confuse me because they just feel so unnecessary.
Yeah.
I cannot forget about Google in my life.
No.
I might forget about going to the dentist.
Yes.
And so, or I
I
might,
might forget to buy a pair of shoes.
or I might not be motivated enough to start a retirement account.
Yeah.
So if I see a retirement ad and I'm like, I think about my age, I get very depressed. Maybe it springs me into action.
If you don't have a 401k at 60 years old, you're going to be
Yes.
in trouble there, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're going to be in trouble.
You are in
You're
trouble.
just in trouble. But like, I mean, those companies I guess it's just continuing the ubiquity, like the feeling of
Yes.
everywhere-ness. The ads that actually scare me the most are not anything like Amazon, Google, any of these places that you know, right? The ads that genuinely frighten me are the companies that I do not know. I do not know what you do. You are not selling me anything, but it's Thursday Night Football, and there is an ad every 2 commercial breaks for Cisco Networks.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay. Okay, it's some sort of computing engineering thing that no one watching this ever goes to like, oh, I gotta go to Cisco Networks and pick up. You can't pick up anything from Cisco. I gotta go to Cisco Networks and pick up my data server for my new global domination social
Yeah.
media app. But they're just on television.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we're Cisco. Who? There's no Cisco out there.
Right.
You're not walking around being like, oh man, they're gentrifying Williamsburg like crazy. You see that Cisco's there now. What is
Right.
Cisco?
So like,
What is Cisco Networks?
if I'm correct,
I'm-
I might be wrong, but here's okay. Cisco Networks, I believe, is like when you have a multinational, like Amazon would use Cisco Networks in their warehouse.
Right.
So here is the difference. That is enterprise sales slipping into the B2C, which is business to consumer advertising world. They are going after single digits of people
That's
watching
so
that
scary.
ad. But they are just saying like, hey, we're in your subconscious.
Right.
Someone's gonna reach out to you tomorrow.
And then someone's
when
going to drop
you-
$250 million.
Exactly.
Right,
So
right,
they
right.
paid $30 million for that
Right,
ad, so that
right.
one person could buy something
Right.
for $50 million.
But to me, that's like particularly disgusting because it's like, look, one thing we've all agreed, whether it's consumption, advertisement, all that, we've all agreed that we're all a part of this.
Yeah.
We've all agreed that like there's no escape, etc.
No,
We all
no.
agree that we're all just like how
We're gonna go China.
Is it going to be 1.5 degrees? Is it going to be 2.5? Is it going to be 4? Right? Like we all know.
How wet
Right?
am I
Like
gonna be?
yeah, we all know that it's over. So you know what, Cisco? Like, just stay out of it, okay? Yeah, I'm watching the Patriots. Okay, just stay.
Don't remind
like,
me.
You can look. I'm 38, not 6. I'm 38,
Yeah.
and so when I see Michelob Ultra, I think to myself, yeah, I got an alcohol problem. But yeah, I should probably start running when I think about it. And so if I run,
You're telling me I could be healthy and have this beer?
if I run to my 24 pack of Michelob Ultra, that ad, you can keep that on.
Great.
On Thursday Night
It
Football.
helps you.
But this weird, like, overlord shit, like the Cisco networks, which is way more ominous to me than, like, you know, oh, look at Google here, the fucking Teams, or what Microsoft Teams,
Yeah.
or, oh, your grandpa has cancer, he's in the hospital, luckily look at FaceTime. Like, that's really brutal, but at least
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
Well, the FaceTime
Yeah.
at least is.
I hope someone FaceTimes me
Right.
when I'm in the
Yeah.
hospital with cancer. Great, I get that. But I don't know, whatever you are, just go sell it to the
Yeah.
other overlord
Yeah.
on your own. I don't need to know. And then whatever algorithm Cisco produces that gives me my dental fucking jabber weapon thing, congratulations, you did it. But just leave us out. Can we not get anything? Is there nothing sacred anymore? We can't have like a beer ad. Right? We can't even have beer ads. I mean, it used to be. Remember the beer ads, man?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Real Men of
They were
Genius
so
Bud Light commercials.
aggressive. Do you remember like and those
Oh.
twins? Remember that commercial?
No.
The Coors Light.
And those twins.
It was called. It's like I don't know, whatever. I love football, and of course like so it's like a song. It's like a Coors Light song. It's like I love
Yeah,
cheerleaders in
yeah,
short skirts. I mean,
yeah.
it was like it's just so amazing. It couldn't pass these days. I don't think.
No.
It was just so, and the whole premise was built around these two like huge titted blonde twins.
Sure.
And was capitalizing on. I don't know if that's still a thing, but like
For Hardee's it is.
twin fetishism had a moment. I don't know if people are still like, but there was this thing. I think there were too many like coming of age comedies where there were like hot twins would always do something.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd make out with the same twins. It was twin. And so this commercial to capitalize on it, they just literally were like, it said something like, look at those twins. And it's just these two twins with huge tits just standing there. And then they do the rest of the commercial, and it's like a song. It's like, I love big hits and short skirts or whatever. And then at the end, it just goes, and those twins. And it's just them. And it's like, you know what? Obviously not great.
We're still talking about it.
Not great gender, sexual politics, obviously. I will say, I sort of respected just the like on the noseness.
Yeah.
Like, just get to me. I'm drunk. I'm
Right.
like, what do I drink?
Right.
And you literally are like,
I'm watching-
what should you drink next, Michael? And those twins. And I'm like, Coors Light. Like, at least I can see the correlation.
I'm already objectifying these football players. Just let me objectify them.
Right? Oh my god, that is.
Well,
really
it's funny that you bring up the Cisco thing because I had this thought like a couple months ago, and I realized like every time you look at an ad that has nothing to do with you,
Uh-huh.
that is wasted money. Like if you're thinking from the corporate perspective, that is Cisco wasting money. And so like I have a smart TV right here.
Yeah.
I watch even live sports. I'm watching through an app. I don't have cable.
Sure.
I'm watching Sunday Night Football through the NBC Sports app.
Right.
Why
A little
am
plug
I?
for NBC.
Why am I seeing ads for arthritis medication? They know who I am. They have my Facebook.
Yep.
They have my Instagram.
How old are you?
27.
Okay.
They have every single thing I've ever done and ever been interested in. Why are my TV ads not the exact same as my Instagram ads?
Could it be like long gaming?
I
Could
don't
it
know.
be that they start just planting it, and then at like 51,
I mean, so
all of a sudden you're like,
I mean, I'm not gonna remember a brand name
No,
in
no.
20 years. And they are doing that to an extent. Like if you watch a certain show on Hulu versus another show, like me watching Dave on Hulu
Okay.
is gonna be very different than my girlfriend watching Mindy Project. Like
Sure.
all she gets is ads for tampons.
Right,
watching
right.
the
Okay.
Mini
Yep,
project,
yep.
and I don't even know what I get.
Yeah,
well,
what do you
I
get
have
on
Hulu,
day?
I have ad-free Hulu, so they don't get to
Oh
me.
wow.
I steal it from my friend.
This
the,
is my favorite. The
But
ad-free
that's
thing-
what I was saying with the subscription.
Yeah.
Like with Twitter, I would pay, I would say maximum $200 a month to never see an ad.
Right, but this
Never.
This
It
this
blurs it out
this
on
is
billboards.
the
It
ultimate-
blurs it out on live
This
TV.
is the ultimate proof of the destructive nature of ads.
Yes.
Is precisely that they're for the proletariat, the fucking
Yeah.
right. You sick fuck. You don't have a fucking good job. You don't have consistent paycheck. You're living paycheck to paycheck. Sit here and watch this like a little shit, and then go spend the little money you have on this bullshit product.
Yes.
And if you emerge into the upper middle class, you know what? You've done well. You've seen enough. You know what? Throw us a bit of money.
Yeah.
You won't have to see. We saved this for all those fucking morons. We're not gonna fucking insult you with an ad for a Buick. You're driving a Lincoln.
Right.
Right? You know, we're not gonna give you that.
Yeah.
And
Well, they'll figure out how
it's
to
like,
get there, but-
That's the thing. Like this class stratification is getting in everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's online experience, everyone's
Yes.
like televisual experience, everyone's media experience. It's all still like I can't like I'm not of the like means to fully get ad free everything, but I pick my spots.
Sure.
So like I have ad free Spotify.
Yes.
I was with a friend who had non-ad free Spotify.
You can't be friends with them.
It felt like we both felt humiliated. Like
It's like if you showed up here and I had cockroaches running around, you'd be like, "You live like
he
this?"
he says so sheepishly, like, "Yeah, sorry, I don't have the premium." I was just like, what's so fucked is my immediate instinct was like, "Fuck is wrong with your life?"
Yeah.
And that's so
Yeah.
crazy. That's brutal.
As someone
it's brutal.
for a long time who had an Android phone, the
Dude.
same thing happens with those green text. You
Yeah.
know what it is? And now that I have an iPhone, I understand it. The light green on white text is
Sure.
hard to read.
Sure.
Like Apple legitimately makes text to Android users difficult
Right.
to read,
Right.
so that you will go to them and be like, "Bro," I think I've said this on the podcast before. I have a friend who, very wealthy.
Yeah.
They were so annoyed by my green text that they gave me $1,000 and said,
That is
"Get an
fucking
iPhone
amazing.
or don't text me again." And I went and got an iPhone the next day because I was like, you know what? If someone's gonna pay for it,
Sure.
if they care that much,
And
and granted,
honestly,
they've got a lot of money,
rich
so
people
it's
do
like,
a lot of stupid shit.
Right.
That doesn't even sound that stupid.
No,
Of
no, no.
the stupid shit that
Yeah.
rich people must spend $1,000 on. If your friend texts you a lot, it's really annoying, and $1,000 means nothing.
part of the reason
Fix the phone.
that they gave it to me was because it had sat in their Venmo for over a year. So they were like, "Yeah,
Sure,
I'll just
sure.
send
I
it
mean,
to you."
who amongst
But
us doesn't have
But it
$8,000 to $11,000 sitting in a Venmo for the year?
But that's exactly what you're talking about, though, right? Like, there is a class divide
Yeah.
on Android to iPhone.
Yep.
There is a class divide on premium versus
Ad-free.
ad-free versus
Dude,
not ad-free.
it's jarring to listen to music now,
It
and then they're
is.
just like, some podcast network.
And
is
Spotify's
like-
ads are so bad.
they're like louder and clearer. I
Yeah.
think. I feel like they have higher fucking
No, they do that
sound
on purpose.
quality.
They do that on
It's
TV
like,
too. It's a
oh
little
my
more
God.
subtle.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It really
and
takes you
now
out.
even so I got an Amazon Alexa just to make sure my ads are very accurate. And
Is it
you know
on?
what Amazon and Spotify do is if you listen to a Spotify exclusive podcast through your Alexa, they take out all the ads. They
Wow.
have a deal where so if the host is doing ad reads
Uh-huh.
as part of their podcast, you can't get rid of it. But if they have a separate section of ads, those are gone. And it's, oh, you paid an extra $45 for this Alexa? Cool, you don't get ads
Yeah.
anymore. Like that's
I'm
You're
so-
100% right,
I'm
is
like,
what I'm saying.
the thing I think about whenever I think about Alexa, which obviously, just it's one of those things where it not to do like the COVID stuff, but like with the vaccine, where the people don't want the microchips, and it's like, but their relationship with their phone is like,
yes.
where's my microchip?
Yeah.
Where did my microchip
Right.
go?
Right.
Did anyone? Have you seen my microchip?
Yeah.
It's got to be somewhere. And your life stops until your microchip is in the
Right.
back of your pocket. And
Yes.
people are like, I'm not putting one like in here, you know?
Right.
And Alexa, it's like, on the one hand, I'm just like, oh, I wouldn't do like Alexa. It's like, and I wouldn't, but at the same time, like, I have a phone. So it's not like appreciably thing. But the one thing I always think about Alexa is I like dream about what the Alexa apology ad is gonna look like. Right? Because these are like ultimately my favorite ads in all of advertising, no question, are apology ads.
Yes.
Nothing like it. I get hard. I'm like, this is everything I hate about the way that our society is organized is always distilled most perfectly through an apology ad. And I like dream
Please,
up because like Alexa, for example, like they say they don't record, and then there was like this murder, right? And then it turned out that the recording could exonerate or prove guilt, whatever it was. And there was this huge debate over whether Amazon was going to like hand over the stuff, blah, blah, blah. And so, I'm thinking about like an apology ad about like someone like exactly in that situation, and like a guy going free or an innocent man. Right? So like the apology ad would just be like Bezos on like a stool. It's like a black background, kind of like a Charlie Rose vibe, and like it's kind of like it's like an in the name of the father situation where like the guy's been in jail for so long, he didn't do it, blah blah blah, and he has to be like, we take everyone's privacy so seriously, but sometimes like even a company like ours, and like we're willing to say like we're sorry, and then like explain how much money they're going to give the guy who was in jail for 23 years or whatever. And those apology ads are all coming in the future. All of those, because like the ones that capture the imagination, right, are like what are some of the great apology ads?
The BP after the oil
BP
spill.
is
amazing.
I mean, just an incredible.
And South Park went after them for that.
It was so fucking good. That my personal favorite though was because I think BP is like the best one.
Yeah.
But the Wells Fargo the Wells Fargo had their employees like just signing people up for their accounts.
Yeah.
just and people are like, why do I have 8 accounts? They're like, oh well, we were told to, and it was this, whatever, relative scandal insofar as these financial companies don't face any real prospect of ruin or whatever, but people are like, the fuck are you doing? You can't do that anymore. And of course, when you abuse like customers in such a direct way, that's when an apology ad needs to come. And so their apology ad was a couple, right? Like getting a loan or whatever. Like, it's like happening, it's all good. While they are apologizing, right? And they're like, of course, it's like, whatever it is, established 1800 and whatever. It's a very old time.
Sure.
And they're like, first they start with, for centuries, we were so trustworthy. We did it all. We were trusted with the biggest jobs, blah, blah, blah. And then my favorite part is they go, we were in charge of bringing back so much of the gold from out west back to the East Coast. And I stopped in the middle of the apology. I'm like, that must have been the most corrupt shit of all time.
100%.
You couldn't have described a more corrupt like moment in the history of finance.
Half of those people turned right and went down to
Dragging
Mexico.
The fucking pillage of the gold rush back across the continent. You guys did, and that's like, they must have been laughing about that. The history of Wells Fargo and the gold rush must be so disgusting, right? And so they apologize, and then it's like, the tagline is like, established 1810 or whatever, re-established 2017 or whatever the scandal happened. And to me, it was just like, what a weird moment in history. Like, can you imagine them like being like, we were trusted with transporting humans on the Amistad. You know what I mean? Like, we were in charge of that. Like, back when we could be trusted. It's like, how did you choose the gold rush as your shining fucking example of your humanity? And so then it's like, I started thinking like, all of these companies are obviously so like rife with just corruption and scandal and evil doing, all of them. They're like, I think if I was trying to become like a new name on like Madison Avenue, like just kind of like emerge onto the scene, I think my whole like niche would be like advanced apology ads. So
who's gonna buy that?
Like,
please.
I pitch it to Coca-Cola.
Sure.
Right. And I'm like, look, you don't need to give me the details, but I'm sure all over the world there's just so much crazy shit.
Diabetes.
Okay. Now, we have two choices. We can either wait for one of these 5,000 horrendous things that you're doing to come out, and then we're gonna have to do damage control, or we can control the damage today and get ahead of it, right? Well, how's that going to help? Blah, blah, blah. Then I started imagining, well, here's what you can do for the ad. Again, you get the CEO out there, okay? It's very somber, and maybe it says something like, I'm Jim Gregory, CEO of Coca-Cola, and I just wanted to level you guys. And I'm going to be honest, like, it could be any number of things. But if it makes you feel any better, I walk around every moment of the day wondering when the shoe's going to drop. And don't get me wrong, it will. and then you turn it into you go after Pepsi. Okay. We want to hold our hands up because we are the leaders of this industry. We want to promise that whatever it is that we are doing wrong, we're already trying to do it better. Pepsi, they don't even want to admit. Right? And I think there could be like a whole market of companies like coming out without actually saying what they've done, but being like mea culpa.
I thought you were gonna say it turns into a mental health ad about the CEO's anxiety about all the shit he's doing. You would want
to humanize him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
you
sleep.
all struggle with anxiety just as I do over everything that's going on.
I can't get into details, but any sector of this company is just a fucking house of cards. Is it a profitable house of cards? Of course. But it's a house of cards.
Am I throwing stones from a glass house? 100% right now.
I would hate to have to come to you.
You know what? I want to have the bigger stone.
It would just seem so disingenuous if after you found out about one of these things that I came to you and say we were sorry. So let me just say, for all of them, we are very, very, very sorry. Like that's like establishing that they feel guilt while pillaging the world.
It could be the next.
That could be the next thing.
Could be.
We're not going to stop because, and you could even say like, we know how much. You could also turn it on the consumer, right? Look, this is so hard. Like the things we have to do. We are. Look, I don't want to tell you which governments we're propping up. But what I will tell you is like, we know, we've done the market research, like we know how much you love this product. Yeah. And we know that you need it for $1. And we are moving literal mountains. You don't know which ones. We have physically moved mountains to make sure we can provide the sweet taste of cola at low prices.
We have changed the drinking water of so many third world countries.
Exactly.
With your money.
Right. We've just been listening to you.
I want you to know.
We've just been listening to you.
That this doesn't make me feel good.
Right. And so then you can end it with like, and so you know what? We know that you're sorry too. You love our drinks too much.
So we reach out to these third world countries. From everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
From all of you, from
you
all of us.
Who can't stop consuming something that is so obviously ethically heinous. And us who can't stop providing it because it's setting up dynasties of our families for the next 1,200 years.
That's how we pay the senators that you think you vote for.
I love the idea of a CEO apology ad that just devolves into him explaining the web of lies that he's caught in. You think this isn't worth a $300 million parachute payment? Fuck you. I'm never going to be the same. I am going to hell.
I will cry on a yacht built on the tears of Mars people.
Oh my God.
I think that's where we gotta end because we're at an hour.
Sure, great, yeah.
But I think the joke's on the listener of this because this was all one giant ad.
For my as yet
unnamed
potential maybe podcast that I've been looking.
We're getting ahead of it, like you thought.
Getting ahead of it. So
where can people find you, Michael?
I'll actually be at Greenwich Village September 6th and 13th, I believe. And then I'm starting a show up in Canada, in Toronto, or outside Toronto, at a place called Sugar Run. We're running a monthly up there.
You used to run a show up there as well,
Pre-pandemic,
right? Yep.
And we're heading back to see how it's going to go. And then I'm running a monthly show in Brooklyn now, and
Yes.
it's called Eris with the Brooklyn Comedy Collective, and our next show is October 8th.
Yes, and then you got 8 Ball with
8 Ball
Zach Redkovich
every
as
week
well.
on
Yes.
Thursday, which I think you're going to be on very
Yes,
soon.
I believe.
So that's
week of
actually
the 13th.
what day is it today?
It is,
Is it Monday?
Tuesday.
Wow.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so that's every Thursday. That's with Zach. So yeah, that's where. And
And your Instagram?
what is my Instagram?
I think it's just at
Oh, Michael
Terry.
A. Terry, all
Michael-
one word.
All right,
Michael A. Terry. Yeah.
And then come see me and Keanu and Chris Ryder and Michael Terry every Monday, Greenwich Village Comedy Club at 7:30, and follow me at Corey T Comedy on all social media. But let's do this again sometime.
Our own
This is a good one.
advertisements. Our own
Yeah,
advertisements. on
we
the way
gotta
out.
plug. We gotta plug.
We just undermined everything we discussed.
Yes. Hey,
Perfect.
we're slaves to the system.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
We were born
yeah,
into
I'll
it.
come back. I love it. It's been fun.
Cool.